On this episode, we're going to dig into the beauty of rejection. So be sure to tune in. Reinvention's not cute. Whoever said that is crazy. They're nuts, okay? Because it's chaotic, it's uncomfortable, but it also is kind of liberating, if I'm being honest, which that's what we do here. I'm Christina Rumbley. I'm a serial reinventionist, and I have done everything you can imagine, all the way from being a pop star to becoming a professional songwriter. From that, business entrepreneur, leading 250 employees, then selling my companies to where I am today. This is Reinventing Rumbley, and that's what we do here. But we're inappropriately appropriate, of course. So now it's time to reinvent. So let's get to it. Hey guys, it's Christina Rumbley here at Reinventing Rumbley, inappropriately appropriate. And today we are going to be diving into the beauty of rejection, right? And boy, we're going to be talking about some life lessons. And did I have a doozy this past weekend? Basically, I have been taking care of this koi pond. Okay. I've been taking care of these koi for 3 years. They have grown to be enormous. I mean, this round, that big, every one of them had names, 11 of them, just beautiful, majestic, beautiful koi fish. And listen, I go fishing. I have no problem with eating fish, but there's something special about these beautiful koi. And of course, I named them all inappropriate names or whatever. But when my daughter left for college, I got these fish and they became a big priority to me. I've never raised fish. I've had cats and a dog most of my life. So Friday recently, I did my usual. You have to do the water exchange. You put in the chemicals because we had a crazy algae bloom because it's hot where I'm living. And I put in the chemicals. It was Friday. I did the backwashing. My daughter had just come home. I hadn't seen her in 6 months. Her 21st birthday was the day before. So it was a big time to celebrate all together. And I fed the fish. I did the things. I put the chemicals in, and the pond's starting to look clearer. And I could actually see all my beautiful fish. And I actually have been posting about it on TikTok and talking about these damn koi are going to be the end of me because it's just, I need them to thrive. And I just wanted them to do incredible. And the pond was getting clearer. So we go out to dinner and we come home. And I noticed I didn't hear the waterfall and the breaker had tripped. So the pond was off for almost 2 hours. Thinking nothing of it, my husband goes down, turns the breaker back on. The waterfall starts coming. Okay, great. I go out, it's feeding time. I go out to feed them, and I see my beautiful, largest fish. And I'm talking literally, he must be 20 something inches. And I believe he's probably 8 to 10 pounds. His name is Orangey. And has literally thrown himself, hoisted as best he could himself onto the lily ponds and was gasping for air and dying. And I turned into a 4-year-old. I started screaming, crying hysterically, begging him to survive, screaming for my husband to come out and my daughter. I just didn't know what to do. I felt absolutely beside myself. I took the net and tried shoving this big, fat, amazing fish, this beautiful, orange, majestic, beautiful creature, underneath the waterfall to try to get oxygen back in his lungs. And it didn't work. And he died in front of me slowly. And I just kept watching him float to the bottom, and I kept lifting him up. And I mean, it was like I was trying to revive myself. It was crazy. It was so profound. But the most profound part of it, I'll say, was that they all, when I took a step back and looked at all of them, in my absolute fuzzy-eyed because I couldn't see straight because I was bawling. They all were lethargic and starting to die, and I continued to try to save them all. And unfortunately, at 4 in the morning, after I cried myself to sleep, took 2 Valiums so that I could actually sleep. My daughter held me as I sobbed uncontrollably. My husband cried with me. I, um, I went out at 4 in the morning with a headlamp on after trying to get all the water out and do fresh water and save them and get the pH back to balance, and, it was like a fish graveyard. My beautiful, nurtured 3-year fish all were dying or dead on the ground of my pond that now was perfectly clear and beautiful, but they were dead. Um, and I just broke. I was broken. It's the only way to put it. It broke me. And so at 6:30 in the morning, because I hadn't slept really after that point, I took a hot bath like I do to try to submerge myself and try to grasp at what this all meant. What's the meaning? Because it wasn't the fish. I learned a fish is a fish is a fish until it's not a fish. And what was the universe and God trying to teach me in this moment? That's what I kept coming back to. What, God, please, what are you trying to show me? And I'm not very religious and I'm not woo-woo, but something was gnawing at me. I just kept saying out loud, I feel like a failure. Just feel like a failure. I can't even do this right. And what I found is I was taking this hot bath and crying, sobbing, literally sobbing uncontrollably. And that's not me. And those that know me know if I'm sad or upset, I can pinpoint why. And I knew I was sad and upset about what had just transpired because it was my fault. It was a combination. It was 81 degrees in the water. That's very difficult. The plankton algae bloom created less oxygen. The chemicals I put in shouldn't have been blended together, but the instructions don't say that. And I just found myself in a heaping pool of a mess. I found myself feeling like a failure more so than I ever had before. And I've had plenty of failures in my life, like we all have. Um, but this was different. This was different. This was the straw. This was the straw that broke the camel's back, the famous saying. Um, because in that bath and the crying, I found myself talking to God and saying, I need you to cover me. I need you to cloak me. I need you to heal me. And I need you to show me the why, you know? And I felt in that moment as I washed my face, I truly felt like I had almost like a crazy symbolic water-fed baptismal. It was just insane to me how it just all came together in my brain. And I thought to myself, this isn't about fish, obviously. This is about letting go. And this is about needing to find my purpose because those fish had become my world. Because you have to step back. And in stepping back for me, I had to look at it and say, what's going on here? And the reality is I had let go already of a lot of things. March 31st, the company that bought my companies let me go. It was a rejection. It was the biggest rejection. And I've had plenty of rejection in my life. Let's be clear, right? We know that. I was in a pop group and we thought we were going to be the next Spice Girls. And then our label dropped us. And then I was a professional songwriter for a living. And I even had a gold record. But then that was over. I had my daughter. All my friends disappeared when I had my daughter. I was no longer important anymore. And I remember feeling that depth and that sadness when I was staying at home with Avery for the first year of her life. I felt very lonely and sad, and a lot of stay-at-home moms feel this way. Who am I? What am I doing? What's my purpose? But my purpose was that little baby girl. She needed me. That was my world. And I knew if I could do that right, then I'd won the lottery. I hit the jackpot. But we're not perfect. We're going to mess up. And life has plenty of rejections that smack us right in the face. And I realized after looking into some symbolism, right? I was trying to find the symbolism. One fish survived that catastrophic night recently. One fish, and it was the Japanese black koi. It's elusive. I never even knew we had one. It was one of those that appeared because when we first got our pond made, they gave us a black koi. You never really see it. It's stealth, but it came out and it survived all of them being poisoned. No oxygen, basically. And this black koi came swimming out and was like, I made it, Mom. And I just wept because I looked into what a Japanese black koi means. And they're supposed to be a sign, a magical sign. They're good luck. And the reason why they're good luck is they actually stand for strength. They stand for reinventing. They're really about resilience and overcoming adversity. And the true definition of getting through one moment to the next is that resilience and the ability to see it, recognize it, and keep it moving. That's what clicked for me was it's not about the fish. The fish was the topic. What was the issue? The issue was I was sad and I felt broken. And I needed to experience that in order to sit with it and just see the beauty in rejection. Because from that, when you are rejected, and look, we've all had that, right? I mean, what's your most recent rejection? I don't know about you, but life had rejection. I mean, my dad left when I was 2 years old. And when I was 4 and living in Canada, because my mom was so afraid that my dad was going to get custody of my brother and I, because she had a high school diploma. She had married someone and moved to Canada so she could kind of see if she could keep us. And my dad told her, I want Steve, my brother, and not Christy. And it made sense. And thank goodness, because I'm grateful for that. My mom knew what to do with a girl. And my dad said, I don't know what to do with a girl. He was a hunter and a fisher and an ex-Marine Vietnam vet, criminology major, cop. I'd be hunting and fishing and that'd be it. But that was rejection. And I found that out later in life. And it was quite overwhelming to find that out. It was a big gut punch, but I was grateful for it. But rejection comes in so many forms, whether it's a loved one rejecting you, a boyfriend or partner. It's a job that you thought you were great at, or a business that you set up in motion and it fails, a business partnership that fails, relationships from all walks of the earth. We face rejection, and it truly is how you handle that rejection, right? How do we handle the rejection? Do we stay in it? Do you swim in that? I know I'm doing a lot of pond analogies and puns for the pond. But I would say that if you look at it through that lens, rejection, and then my brain went to, well, after you are in rejection land, you get in reflection mode. And after reflection mode, you get into reinvention mode. And That's where this all started. So a fish was a fish was a fish until it wasn't a fish anymore. It became so much more than that. And going through that ebb and flow of the feelings and the emotions and being sad and it being okay to be sad. Well, my brother said something to me because I called him because he knows me really well. We're cut from the same cloth, crazy enough. We weren't even raised together. We were raised together for a couple years and then he just would bounce back and forth to our home or not. And but we both have such similarities. It's kind of weird how strong genetics and DNA are. But he said to me, Christy, because I'm Christina, but I raised Christy my whole life. He said, "You don't do good in the mud. You don't do good in the muck and being stuck because that's when the worry sets in. I don't do well in what ifs, don't knows. I'm not someone that has been able to figure out quite yet. That's part of my journey is how to compartmentalize things because everything feels big and overwhelming sometimes. And this was one of those. It was a rejection on like a steroids, if you will, right on the heels of saying goodbye to my companies and saying goodbye to people I love and care about that have been with me for 3 to 15 years. They've been working side by side with me and my business partner and believing in us. And then it was over. And I no longer felt valued. What was my purpose? No one was calling to say, "How you doing?" A couple people, of course, that I love and care about and have fostered that relationship, but people that I've known for 13 years and such just disappear because their lives are their lives. And I had to really go deep on that and because I need to be liked. I need to feel loved. It's part of my thing, right? I search for that. I seek it. I need it. I need to feel important and not important like ego, like I'm number one. No, mine isn't from that. A lot of people's are. It's totally cool. That's not my that's not my jam. My jam works better when I feel like I'm creating value, when I'm adding to the mix, when I'm collaborating, it lights me on fire, when I can be passionate and provoked to be passionate about something. But when my world got small, and I'm talking like that, from this to that, all I had was a koi pond, and I couldn't get that right. And it was a big kick in the ass, or other areas, all of them. Um, but from that, I realized I have gone through the 3 R's, rejection, reflection, and reinvention so many times in my life. I had to do that because we moved almost every year as I was growing up to new apartment buildings. And I learned that I always would have rejection to deal with, right? Kids are cruel. We know that. And I'm a Gen Xer, right? We grew up where people kicked your ass on the playground or you got picked last at dodgeball. You weren't the one. And I would use my personality or I'd be kind of tough and loud and funny and that got me through things. But now at 51, that it's a different way to get through things now. Now I go deeper and I start looking at it. And maybe that's life experience screaming at me saying, "Hey, you can't just rough and tumble your way through this one." And I do believe that that's the universe and God basically going, "Hey, Rumbly, get it together. Okay?" And in that bathtub, my baptismal, if you will, reinventing Rumbly really came about because I'm in reinvention mode. And what I'm learning too is all of us are reinventing. I mean, let's be honest. Rejection, every day we could talk about it and go, today I was rejected. I went to this and they did this and blah. Walt Disney, Mr. Walt Disney, was rejected by every bank. No one would give him a loan. I think 50 banks, something like that, said no to him. He had this crazy idea, this Mickey Mouse thing. And then it was the one time, the one bank said yes. And because of that, we have Walt Disney World. The Beatles. The Beatles were turned down every label they went to. Every label. The Beatles? What a dumb name. They literally thought the Beatles was, oh, who's going to want to listen to a group called the Beatles? And now here we are with the Beatles being some of the best songs ever written, ever, of all time. And they were rejected over and over and over again. And something inside them said, keep going, right? So I guess I say that to go, we all get rejected. It's what we do with the rejection that matters most, right? Are we in a bucket? I feel like there are two buckets. And listen, generalizations, I tend to do that a lot, stereotypes. Okay, but it's the only way I can kind of relate to things in my crazy world in my head. You're either in the bucket of someone that when they go through a rejection or they go through something that's traumatic or they go through something that's life changing and upsetting and can be dark and depressing, do you sit in it? Do you get something out of that? Because some people do. My husband and my daughter, they suffer from depression, and it erodes at their brain power sometimes. And I don't have that, but I felt it and I understand it. And I remember crying to my husband saying, if this is how you feel a lot of the times, I'm so sorry because this sucks. And I've walked through life and had depression of moments of being sad about something, but this was so deep. And when he describes it to me, he says it feels like a death of someone or something you love. And for him, he just can't usually put his finger on it because it's a chemical depression. And mine is a situational depression. It was a sadness because I had lost, but I had lost more than just koi fish. And so I guess part of this for me is a healing, and I feel compelled. Like it's not even a choice. It's not that I want to do a podcast. I have to do this. It's not an option for me. And the reason why is because I am in the purest form of reinvention that I've ever been able to observe, look at, analyze, and walk through. And I guess I'm just doing it now on a platform for others to join the journey because I have to document it because I want to remember. I want to remember this. So it looks to me and feels to me like rejection really isn't the end, right? It's often the beginning to something better. But you have to know that. You have to know that in order to get to the next part, which is reflection. So this series that we're doing is the 3 R's: rejection, reflection, and reinvention. And the beauty of rejection that we're talking about is just it being okay to feel broken. It's okay to wallow in that a little bit. But like my brother told me, I don't do good in the mud, in the muck. And then he said, you're like a shark. You cannot be contained because if you're contained, you die. You have to move. And it probably explains my claustrophobia. Not kidding. Can't be trapped. Don't get me on an elevator. It's a problem. But together, I guess we're going to be sharks. We're going to identify and we're going to swim through those waters together because you have to keep moving. And I know part of my DNA, because of how I was raised, and I was raised by a mom who had grit and hustle and grind because she had to. It was not an option. If there was food on that table, we had food on the table because she hustled her ass off to get it there because she came from nothing and taught me that you move, you keep going, you keep trekking, and you don't stop. And the blessing in all that, right, is that you have the ability to recognize it when it's happening. And that I think happens through age, maturity, experience, all the stuff. My daughter's 21 right now. She can't quite yet understand rejection and reflection. She tries. And with her having autism, it's harder sometimes to be able to see and self reflect because you have to recognize cues. And I have been able to look at myself and kind of have this epiphany of, man, you are in the throes, in the thick of reinventing. And I know I'm not alone. I know that because I've had a lot, especially women, men too, but I've had a lot of women come to me, especially around 45 to 55, and they are in the thick of it. They are in absolute reflecting. They feel rejected. Their kids have grown. Who am I? What's my purpose? Why am I here? Who needs me anymore? It's my value. Do I have value? All of those things that make us self deprecate and dig deep and feel like you just want to crawl into a hole. And it made me think of Mel Robbins, who I love and appreciate so much. And when she was in a dark space, it was her 5-second rule, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, move. And it really resonated. It resonated because that's exactly what I needed to do. So we're doing this together. So for me, just to put it out there, rejection, it's feedback. It's not failure. You can feel like it's failure. I can feel the failure, trust me. But I also can see there's a light at the end of the tunnel. An interesting tidbit. The next day, my husband had to bury 10 out of 11 koi fish, and they were huge. He had to bury them 3 feet deep on our property. And the other day, I watched a little corner of my eye, saw a black movement, and I didn't know what it was. And it was later in the day, and I look over and I see 3 little baby cubs. And I knew the mama was nearby. And I live in the North Carolina Blue Ridge Mountains. We have bears, but I don't see them that often. And they've come out of hibernation, so they're hungry and they're moving around. That mama bear turned her head and beelined it across our entire property and went exactly to the hidden hole that he had buried these fish in. And I sat for 4 hours because she was there for 4 hours with her cubs. And she dug for almost an hour straight, getting every one of those fish. And she fed those fish. They were playing in the hole. She was getting onto them playing in the hole because they were dropping down in there and trying to come up with a fish bigger than their heads. And they feasted and filled their bellies. And then they laid down for a little nap while Mama Bear was protecting them. And I had a full circle moment. It made me go, there's purpose in pain. And I saw just a full circle spiritual moment for me of looking at this mama like me, I felt just like her. And she was feeding her babies with my babies, and they didn't die in vain. And, you know, part of my tears during all that was feeling guilty, right? I don't know about you, but feeling really, really guilty about why am I crying? Like, how am I this upset about koi fish when people have been just diagnosed with cancer? People just lost their mother or father. People just are going through divorce. People's child just died. People are literally starving to death. People can't get water to drink. Like, I mean, my brain went to all the reasons why I should not, cannot, will not be sad. And something just kept whispering to me is, I got you. You can be sad. You can be sad, Stratton, my married name. I could be sad. And it's okay. But keep it moving, Rumbley. See, when I'm loving on myself, I'm Stratton. When I'm kicking myself in the ass, I'm Rumbley. Isn't that weird? I noticed that about myself recently. I think I just spit on myself. That's hot. Anyways, so together, yeah, we're going to do this exploration. And this is a series. And right now, that's part one, rejection. Second series, we're going to get into talking about is reflection. And really, truly, it's the truth of reflection, right? And then we're going to talk about reinvention. And through that, we'll have segments and some fun because it can't just be deep always. I like to laugh. I'm a little bad. I'm a little raw, a little raunchy, as we already talked about. But I think it's important that we go there because that's life, my friends, right? It's the roller coaster ride. So, in all that, I say, when life hands you a rejection, which I call lemon shit. When life hands you lemon shit, sometimes you can make a shitty lemonade, but it's still lemonade, right? Or sometimes you can make something completely different. And that's kind of where my life has landed is maybe I don't need to make shitty lemonade. Maybe we're going to make a different type of cocktail. I know I keep talking about cocktails. I barely even drink, but I do like to get my cocktail on every once in a while. So now we're going to go with something a little more fun. But before that, just remember, reinvention starts with rejection. Okay, so the next step, we're going to be talking about reflection. But now I'm going to let my producer, who I call the great and powerful Oz, she's going to do some rapid rumbly and see how I handle that. I don't know what she's going to ask me at all. So here we go. Okay, Oz, are you there?
Hello, Christina.
There she is with that ominous voice. Hello, Oz. What do you have for me on the rapid rumbly?
Well, I have some rapid, rumbly, rapid fire questions to
Oh,
have the listeners get to know you a little bit more. And I'm going to ask you some questions,
okay.
and you're going to just tell me what comes to mind. What's the most inappropriate thing that happened to you in the pop group I5?
On tour with NSYNC, our junior manager, he was like a junior manager at the time. He says to he says to me and to Andy from Liverpool that we said, "Hey, are we going to be on this tour with NSYNC much longer? Like how long?" And he says, "I don't know, but if Tal, who was our beautiful Israeli in the group, if Tal could beep, mm, hook up, have sex, rhymes with duck, or fluck, um, Chuck, JC in sync, you know, that maybe that will work because he said, because that's what you have to do."
Are we gonna continue the tour? We're in sync. Do you think there's a possibility?
I don't know if you can fuck JC.
Just run the CD. Hey, funny. Okay. No, seriously, what are the
Actually, it
chances?
makes a difference if you do, and it certainly sells records.
What does? I know if I'll do JC.
Fucking JC.
And the saddest part about all of that was Tal in the video goes, "Oh, you're so funny." And then he pans to Andy, and Andy goes like this. And this is how typical that was. Just so we're clear, I don't bat an eye. I'm drinking my little Coca-Cola, and I go, I mean, do you think that would work? I mean, I was ready to whore out Tal so we could stay on tour a little longer and me and JT could hang out, me and Justin. And Tal was like later, I mean, we got to do what we got to do, right? Because because our worlds, this is what our world was. I sat on Tommy Mottola's lap up at the Peninsula Hotel. Remember, Tommy Mottola was the head of Sony Records and married to Mariah Carey. I don't know if he was at the time. Old dude. I sat on his lap and sang, "Heart of my heart." Now, let me tell you something. How about this? If my daughter came to me at 20 some years old and said, yeah, so and so said maybe someone needs to sleep with one of the lead singers of NSYNC. I'd be going to jail 'cause I'd be choking some bitch out. I would kill someone if they said that to my daughter. If my daughter felt she had to sit on the lap of an executive of a label to get signed a record deal, this was before me too, just so we're clear. Um, so yeah, that was inappropriate. But at the time, I thought it was appropriate because that's all we knew. So yeah, that one was interesting, but we got it on tape. Not anything bad. We got on tape someone saying something. But yeah, that would answer that one. I'm sure I have many stories like that.
Next one. What career title would your 10-year-old self never believe you've had?
Oh, that's easy. Singing telegram girl. Now, you guys have to understand, like I mentioned before, my life and my career choices and jobs is like a Candyland road. If you look at it, some of it makes no sense. Yes, I've been a singer, but I was living in Tallahassee, Florida, and I joined a singing telegram company, and I had to dress up as a gorilla. It was 104 degrees, probably 150 inside the costume. I was driving in my little Nissan Sentra to a church to go sing happy birthday to one of the choir people in Priscilla the gorilla costume. After that, I was a Rumpelmintz shots girl and had to go to a frat house in a bikini and a holster, pew pew, as a singing telegram girl. And then I had to walk into a Shoney's once with a big heart over me and sang My Funny Valentine to a customer. So my 10-year-old self would actually love this. My 21-year-old self was like, what are you doing with your life? Where are we at? Maybe we should rethink this whole communication broadcast journalism degree. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, singing telegrams. Didn't expect that. Or a Hooters waitress, but that's another story.
Next question. What's more terrifying, a blank slate or a full calendar?
Blank slate. Thus, what we're doing right now. This is a blank slate. The canvas is clear. The canvas doesn't even have a color pattern yet. I don't even have the paint yet. I mean, I feel like I have the canvas. I've got the paint brushes. I bought the paint, but I haven't chosen the paint colors yet that are going to go on the palette. I haven't figured out what I wanted to paint yet, but I know that I need to paint. Have to. Don't want to, have to paint. To me, that's kind of symbolic, right? Because when my calendar is full, when I had 250 employees, 25 locations, plus my own locations, business partner, daughter growing up, husband to take care, like all of it, I thrive in chaos, organized chaos. I get off on it, need it. Opening spas, business deals, creating moments into memories, helping a culture and a company grow and foster. That is when I am percolating and I am operating at stealth delta force levels. And then I'm sorry, my cat's crying. I'm on delta force stealth mode. Go, 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 go. It's when it's quiet, the silence is deafening to me. And the slower things go and the quieter the pace, the more pulled back everything is, it's more time to reflect and dig in and autopsy. It's probably why I hate yoga. And I should love yoga, but I hate it because it's just so quiet and I struggle with it. My favorite part of yoga is like, hey, lay down and let's close our eyes. Yes. But when you're like needing to like meditate and all that is very difficult for me. It's almost like the chaos and noise helps me navigate through life. But when we get quiet is where the real work begins. So that for me is hard when the calendar is empty.
What's your go to karaoke song when you want to shock the room?
That's a great question. Okay, so it used to be Beautiful by Christina Aguilera, but then I always felt like a poser. Like, I can't sing like her. I tried to. I can mimic some of her stuff, but I don't have the chops like she does. I'm okay. I think the one that I always love to sing is At Last, you know, by Etta. And it's just such a I sang it at my business partner's wedding, and my daughter used to sing it with me, and there's something about it. That song, and I will say I have 2. The other one is Donny Hathaway's A Song for You, because it talks about, if you listen to it, it's, um I'm trying to at the moment, like, "I've been so many places, yeah, in my life and time," and it says, "I've sung a lot of songs, I've made some bad rhymes," and I go, "Oh," and it says, "I've acted my life on stages, oh, with 10,000 people watching," and it's just he talks about, "And we're alone now, and I'm singing this song to you," and it just feels so right, right? That song gets me every time. I love it, I love it, I love it.
What's the worst advice you've ever taken, then turned into gold?
Someone told me when I where I used to wait tables, I won't say who because I don't wanna embarrass them if they ever saw this, but they said to me, "You know, you're a lot. You're a lot to take in, and you suck the energy out of a room." And I was distraught because I like to be liked. I like to be needed, and it broke my heart. I love this person. This person was a friend of mine, and she cared about me, but she was being honest and said, "You're a lot. You suck the energy out of the room." And I took that to heart, kinda reflected, and then I realized, yeah, yeah, bitch, I do. I am a lot, and I do suck the energy out of a room, but I also ignite the shit out of it too. So, you don't get one without the other. And I think I took that I took the I took it on the chin, right? I took the lumps with that because you kinda need to hear that. I need to but what it made me do is go, "I like me." Not all of me, and not all the time, but I like me. And it challenged me to ask people, especially later in life in my companies, "Do you like you?" And you need to love you, all of you, and embrace the parts of you that people don't like and work on that part. But also embrace the parts that you love about yourself. And as long as you don't hurt anybody else and you listen to people with full authentic heart, be you, do you. It just so happens she was quieter than me. She was more shy. I sucked the energy out of her. We're no longer friends, and that's okay. I love her. She's a great person, wonderful. But I'm me, and that me allowed me to become a successful entrepreneur, a songwriter that did that, put together a pop group, did that, and survived to here. So, yeah, I acknowledge and invite criticism, especially if you can flip it and utilize it and learn something from it because there's truth and power in what people perceive because the reality is listen, it's 9/10 reality is truly people's perception of you. It may not be real, but it's their reality. So part of it can be true, but it's about how much of it do you change yourself to become something. That's the one thing I wanted to stop being a chameleon because I used to chameleon myself in order to fit in the room, and I did that for many, many, many years. But now the muzzle's off, and that's why I keep going back to I don't want to do this. I do want to do it, but meaning I don't want to do it. I have to do this because let me be free and let the muzzle come off. You know what I mean?
If you had to relive one chapter of your life, what would it be?
Touring the country with the ladies. And I would soak up every friggin' minute of it. And we would milk every ounce of that fame that we could because I don't think all of us as a unit recognized what we had. We had a television show that was written about us that got shelved. We had a top 40 single. We should have pushed harder. We were so afraid to speak up against, the label, to tell them they had to do a music video. Mistakes were made that we didn't know any better. Our management should have been better and done better things, but they did the best they could. They had never had pop group with these chicks, these high maintenance chicks. But oh my gosh, I would have picked less battles. I battled a lot because it was so important to me for us to be successful that I almost feel like I almost snuffed the flame out a little bit. I didn't cause us to not make it, and timing's everything, right? But I just feel like I was choking it because I wanted it so bad that I wasn't actually enjoying it. I would do that because I'm still with my man. I don't need to redo our elopement in Santa Barbara. I don't need to go through a C-section again. I'm good. You know what I mean? I paid the dues there, but I could see myself enjoying being with those women and actually drinking it in because I think that I try to control it too much, and you can't control 5 like bucking broncos. That's what we were. And it was lightning in a bottle though. But that I would relive for sure, hands down.
Well, that's great.
Well, I'm so glad that we were able to have the great and powerful Oz. Thank you, producer Oz. And just everybody tune in, stay tuned. This is the beginning for me. So I thank you for listening. And tune in next week because we're going to start going and digging into the truth in reflection, part of the 3 R's series. So stay tuned and email us your thoughts because I want to know what you've gone through. What stage are you in? Are you in rejection phase? Did you just go through that? What are some rejections you've gone through? And how are you going to start reflecting on that if you haven't already? I encourage you to start looking at rejection through a different lens if by chance you happen to be in the bucket where you're swirling in it because you don't want to stay in there too long. I understand it. I can relate to it. But sometimes we got to kick ourselves in the booty, right? So that's kind of what this is doing for me. It's forcing me out of my safe and comfortable small kaleidoscopy bubble. So email us your thoughts, reinventingrumbly@gmail.com. And I definitely want you to subscribe and make sure that you hit like. Let us know how we're doing. If you hate it, let us know. That would make me sad. But if you like it, let us know that too, because it's important for us to stay as a community together and grow it and share it with your friends. If you got a friend that you know that's kind of going through this too, I mean, if I can't tell you how many 45 to 55-year-old women I know that are going, "Oh my gosh, I totally get it. I'm going through that exact same thing." It's outrageous to me. I'm like, this is a big movement. It's something that's happening inside us all. So I encourage you to keep on coming back and just let us know how we're doing. And remember, you're always reinventing. Don't let anybody tell you you're not. You're always reinventing. So pull up a chair. Let's reinvent together on this windy road called life.